Once the recruits get to the street, I train them through a program which is about 4 months long.
We have to make sure that the folks that we're bringing in are quality people and help us to reach our goal, which is to be one of the best, if not the best, law enforcement agency in the country.
Hello and welcome to another episode of City Law, City Justice. I'm your host, Officer Dave Northway, and today we're talking about some exciting new happenings at TPD with our recruiting and the way that we're bringing in officers. Joining me now on stage is we have Melissa Thompson, and we also have Major Lonnie Scott with us. Thank you both for taking time out of your day and coming in and talk to us today.
Thank you for having us.
So Ms. Thompson, let's start with you. Can you tell us what your position is at TPD and where you work?
I am the Assistant Director of Employee Resources. I work in the main office at TPD.
And Major Lonnie Scott, what do you do at TPD for us?
I'm the Support Bureau Commander. The Support Bureau contains the personnel unit or the Employee Resources Unit, which is one of the areas that reports to me. I also have the Criminal Investigations Division, as well as the Special Operations Division.
So our detectives and then also our special events types groups, those people all report to you, plus we have our employee resources in there as well.
That's correct.
So the reason that we're here today is to talk about our recruiting efforts at TPD. Just because of attrition, meaning that people have been retiring, people have been leaving for other personal reasons, things like that. We've had some mass hirings, if you will. A lot of people coming and going from TPD in the last couple of years. Chief DeLeo, who's been with us now for about a year and a half, has been really trying to work out different ways to get more people to TPD. Could you maybe talk about that a little bit for us?
Yeah, you know, the employees, because we are a service provider, employees are the primary resource that we utilize. And that's the building block. So we have to make sure that the folks that we're bringing in are quality people and help us to reach our goal, which is to be one of the best, if not the best, law enforcement agency in the country. So to start off, we have to identify the best applicants, the best candidates that are out there. The chief philosophy is that we ought to have a mixture of folks, some that are from outside of this area, but primarily our primary recruitment base should be people who have an investment in the community that are from this area. Not everyone can afford to attend the police academy. It's a 6-month academy. It's about $3,500 in cost, and you can't really have a job while you're doing that. So our belief is that we can grow our own, that we can grow folks that are from this area, that will help to be, that will be invested in this community, that will help us to provide the type of services that we would like to provide to our citizens. Because they're from this area, they know the folks know them. And when we did some neighborhood events, one of the things that came out was that the folks didn't know the police officers that were in the neighborhoods. And then in fact, they thought that was one of the primary things that needed to be addressed. So we think it'd be important for these officers to be from this area, to be familiar with what's going on, the different issues and the different types of cultures that we have here, reflect the diversity of what we have in this community, and go out and police in the manner which this community deserves, which is to be one that's respected.
And Melissa, your shop, the Employee Resources shop, I know there's a director of our shop, she's out of town at the moment, but your shop is the one that actually is overseeing this, the hiring process, right? What else does Employee Resources do for the department?
Well, Employee Resources is the hub of where we handle all the paperwork that comes through. There's a lot of paperwork when processing new employees, and we are that main contact of getting that information in and doing what we do is the backgrounds on the officers that we're going to hire.
On the applicants.
So we're the main hub of getting all of that in, getting it processed, getting it through, making sure that the candidates that we have are the best of the best. That's what we're seeking. We continue to do that.
And I would argue that you do a lot more than that, because that is probably the busiest office in the department. You handle everything from hiring of people, to timekeeping. I mean, you guys are doing everything down there. It's quite an office.
Yeah.
There's always something. You're maintaining records, all the personnel records of our officers, and it's amazing what actually goes through there. We applaud you guys for doing that. Thank you so much for that. So Major Scott, getting back to our philosophy with the chief and trying to up our ways going through, we're going now to be bringing in more people, or we're trying to bring in more people, obviously. Are we constantly hiring? Is it a rotating basis? Is it a twice a year? You know, when I became a police officer, I would go to departments and they would say to me, well, we just hired in April, come back next September. And it would be, let's say, August, or it would be, you know, May for me. And I'd say, well, I can't wait until September to get a job. How does it work at TPD?
We try to keep the application process open as long as we can. We may close it down for a month or two while we're actually processing folks. But we're in the posture right now of having it open because we have additional positions that we have that we're forecasting that we'll receive in the new budget. And we need to get these people out as quick as possible. This is an extensive process. I mean, it's 6 months in the academy, and then there's probably another five to 6 months to actually get them through the in-house and get them through field training and get them operational. So this is a huge investment, and it's something that we think is beneficial. And we are constantly looking for folks, and we keep it open as long as we can because we want to get the best. And we don't hire everyone that applies. You know, there may be 100 people that apply. The ones that make it through the initial screening may get down to about 35. Once we do some testing, it might get down to 20s. And what we end up hiring is in the teens, you know, and that's what happened in the last process. We take pride in the fact that we are picking what we consider to be the best that's available. People that have good communication skills, people that have good interpersonal skills, that can talk to folks, that can listen, be an active listen. It's not all about being able to fight or shoot. It's more about being able to think and being able to communicate with people effectively.
And so, as we're wrapping up our segment here, let's talk about the newest part of that recruiting process, which is what Chief DeLeo came up with and petitioned to the city, and we were able to get that going. And that is
That's the police trainee position.
Okay.
Police trainee position doesn't require that you have certification in the state. It's basically the police department hiring you. If you meet the other qualifications, we'll send you to the police academy, pay you while you're in the police academy, pay for your tuition, your books, your equipment, and we send you there, and it's your job to go to the academy to learn and be successful. Now, our expectations are that you will finish in the top of the academy.
Right.
We're not hiring
It's your
people
job now.
It's your job. It's a full-time job, and we want the best. We want your best effort. We want your best dedication. We want you to go forth and represent Tallahassee Police Department, the city of Tallahassee, to the utmost of your abilities. This allows us to increase our applicant pool. It gives us a better chance at achieving some diversity or maintaining our diversity. It also gives us a diversity as far as age, race, gender, all the protected classes, because some folks just can't economically. Some folks can't afford it. So this gives us some economic diversity. So it's in our best interest and that of the community to pursue this program, and it's something that we wholeheartedly pursue, and it really has increased our applicant pool, I think, twofold at this point.
Outstanding. So essentially now we're sponsoring people through the academy. Melissa, they'll be obviously contacting you. I would assume that's your shop. They'll talk to employee resources. We do have to go to a break. I appreciate you both coming in. We'll see you next time out here, maybe, okay?
All right.
Thank you.
And stay tuned. We'll be right back on City Law, City Justice.
Until all our daughters are safe. Until all our children have families. Until all our families have homes. Until all our parents are cared for. We'll be here.
Every week we return all our cans and bottles. Yeah, we help to reduce the world's waste.
But aluminum? It's like gold. Oh, yeah.
Environmental defense. Get green. For more environmentally friendly tips, go to getgreen.com.
Oh, there's a bottle.
Where?
Right over there. To your left. To your left. There you go. You got it.
Hi, and welcome back to City Law, City Justice. Today we're talking about our recruiting at TPD as we are trying to get more officers in, and we're hoping that you will apply. Joining me now, we have Officer Melissa Larson and Officers Phil Hinds. Both of them are working in our background investigations. Melissa's helping out, and Phil is our background investigator. Thanks for both for being here, first of all. And let's start out with Phil. Your role at TPD as a background investigator, what does that mean?
That means once the person applies, I handle their file. I handle coordinating all the testing for them, taking them through all the steps of the hiring process, all the way to the interview with the chief and hopefully getting hired at the end. Outstanding.
And Melissa, you've been brought in to kind of help out with the hiring process, and that is because we're getting lots of applications. What's going on?
Yes, since we have implemented the sponsorship program, we have seen a big increase in our applicants, and so yeah, I've been in there to help Phil process all those applications.
So it sounds like a success. Can you talk a little bit more about the sponsorship program? We kind of touched on it in the first segment. Sponsorship means what? If you were to be sponsored, what does that mean?
It means that we are basically hiring you to go to the police academy, and we want you to get through the academy. You are hired with us, and
you're an actual employee.
Correct. It's at a lower rate than you will if you start off as a police officer, but once you graduate the police academy, you transition into the police officer role here at TPD.
Okay, so your normal Monday through Friday job is attend the police academy, pay attention,
yes,
learn it,
yes,
pass it, and move on
yes,
to be it.
Right.
But we're also still taking already certified, quote unquote?
Absolutely.
Because
absolutely.
In Florida, you have to have a certification in order to be a police officer. Can
Correct.
You touch on that a little bit? I think that some people who go to college, they think they get a 4-year degree and maybe in criminology, and they think they can immediately become a police officer.
Right. That certification is going to the police academy, whether it's a night class or whether it's a day class. The night class takes a little bit longer to get through because at our academy at least, it's a 6 at night until 10 at night as opposed to 8 to 5. The daytime academy is about half the time just because it's an 8 to 5.
Right.
But you have to go to the academy in order to get certified in the state of Florida.
And how long is the academy approximately now?
It's about 4.5 months.
About 4.5 months.
For the day.
Full time.
For the day academy, yes.
Right.
The night academy is about 9 months.
Okay. And are we still taking certifications from other states? How does that work?
Yeah, well, there's also a program where you can basically get certified in the state of Florida. It's a compressed academy. But if you're certified in another state, if you're an officer in another state or a deputy, you can come to any number of Florida academies and get certified in Florida in a much shorter period of time.
Okay. But they have to meet the criteria. The state you came from has to meet the same criteria.
You still have to pass the state exam in Florida in order to become Florida certified.
Okay, and Melissa, just so that I'm clear, I go to the academy, I pass the academy, but then there's another step before I get my certification, which Phil just touched on, and it's the state exam. Can you
Correct.
Maybe explain that a little bit to
Yep.
the people?
Once you take all the courses through the academy, you have to take this state exam and you have to pass the exam, and then once you do that, if you're sponsored through us, then you will transition into the police officer role here at the police department, and you'll go through our in-house training from there.
Okay, so the state exam, let's say I'm not a great test taker and the first time I don't pass it. Do I get another shot? Do I get as many shots as I need? How does that work?
I believe you get 3 shots.
Yes.
Okay.
3.
If you don't pass it on the 3rd attempt, then you have to actually attend the academy.
Go back
again.
to the academy
Yes.
again. Okay.
Yes.
So basically pay attention in the academy, you're going to pass the state exam as long as you're studying and do what you have to do. And if we're sponsoring you through, that's the idea, is that your full-time job is to be doing that.
Correct.
I actually was we had this program in place 15 years ago when I came through, and I actually went through as a sponsored employee, and it's a great opportunity because a lot of people can't stop going to work. I can't stop going to work 8 to 5 and go to the academy all the time. So it was a great program for me, and it sounds like it's going to be a great success for us.
Oh, yeah.
So let's say that I want to just put in an application at TPD. You're our main background investigator. Melissa's been helping you because we have such a high volume. But can you explain the background? Can you explain the application process? How do I do it? Who do I call? Where do I go? How does that work?
Sure. You go online, talgov.com. There's a section that's just for TPD. So you go to that web page and you can apply online, and you submit your application online. Every week we're able to download your application from the website, and we begin to process your application at that point. We'll do the initial criminal background on you. Once that's done, once we get some applications together that are completed like that, then we'll start scheduling testing. And the first thing that we do is a writing sample. It's a writing exercise. So you do the writing exercise, and once that's completed, you'll go to the next step, which is an oral board. And from there, there's more testing. It's a psychological, a CVSA, and a medical.
Okay. Well, either one of you, if you could answer this, what would disqualify me from applying to be a TPD officer right off the bat? Is there anything that right away I'm not going to be able to do this as a job?
Well, you have to be 21 years or older.
Okay, that's good to know.
You have to either have a 2-year degree or 60 semester hours, but you can also have 2 years of full-time military or 2 years sworn law enforcement will substitute for the college.
Okay.
And those are just a few things.
Is there anything major? I think there may be some information out there that says if you've committed a felony or if you've something like that. Is that?
Yes, you can't be convicted of any felony. I will tell you also that all of the disqualifications and qualifications, you can call it, are all on the website as well, where our application is. Yes.
Okay. Is this application a 1-pager, a 2-pager? How long should I give myself to fill this out? I think there may be some misinformation about that, where I start my application process on Monday and I should be done by Monday afternoon. It's a little more in depth than that. Is that right?
Well, we've joined our application with our CVSA questionnaire. CVSA is a lot like a polygraph examination, but we used to have, you would have to fill out each individually. And a lot of the information was repetitive, so we combined those two applications. It is lengthy, so you need to probably allow yourself a day, afternoon, to really compile all of your information and make sure that it's all accurate. But it's about a 40-page document that you need to fill out.
Okay. We're coming up on the closing minute of this segment. How long should I expect to wait between putting in my application and being quote-unquote hired? I mean, are we talking about a month? Are we talking about 2 months, a year? What is the process at this point? Approximate. Obviously, we can't give definites.
I would say it's all going to depend on when you actually complete your application with us. Obviously, if you complete your application right after we've just done a hiring process, it's going to be considerably longer. But I would say you're going to be waiting at least, not necessarily waiting, but going through the process for at least 2 to 3 months.
Okay. Is there anything that I forgot to ask either one of you that you want everybody to know about the hiring process at TPD?
No. I think you're good.
It's a great place to work, I would say.
It is.
I love it here.
Put your application in.
All right, perfect. Well, I thank you both for coming in. I know you're both should be this high in paperwork right now, but I appreciate you coming in today. Thank you very much for doing so. And if they need a job, call Phil or call Melissa.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with our recruiting process and how we're doing that here on City Law, City Justice.
That's been just 10 seconds. If you commit a crime and pull a gun, this will be your home for 10 years. Fire the gun, 20 years. Shoot someone, 25 years to life. 10-20 life is the law. Get the picture?
It's a career of courage.
It's a career of strength.
It's a career of honor.
It's a career of integrity.
It's a career of pride.
It's a career of commitment.
Character.
Honor.
Courage.
The Florida Department of Corrections. It's a career of courage.
Hi, and welcome back to City Law, City Justice. We're talking about our recruiting efforts today. We have two of our star recruiters with us, and we'll be talking to them about the recruiting process. Welcome to the stage, Officer Susan Newhouse and Officer Marcus Johnson. Thanks for both for being here.
Thank you.
First, let's figure out what you do at TPD before we get into any of the questions and answers type stuff. Officer Newhouse, what do you do?
I'm a field training officer, so basically I'm on the tail end of after the applications and the recruitment, and once they get to the street, I train them.
Okay, so field training officer, meaning, help me out with that.
Basically, I train the recruits. Once the recruits get to the street, I train them through a program which is about 4 months long. And so they'll come with me and ride in the car, and I kind of teach them, policy and procedures and what to do and what not to do as a police officer.
So I don't just get to hop into my police car after I get out of the academy and drive around.
Right.
All right. Officer Johnson, what do you do here at TPD?
I'm part of the newly created Violent Crimes Response Team. Basically, we're going after the most hardened, I won't say hardened criminals, but career criminals per se. Going to them, make sure that they're not still doing what they used to do as far as committing violent crimes. We're going to them with an intervention letter saying, hey, this is according to your past, this is what you've been doing. If you continue to do it, then the sentences are going to get more and more worse as far as prison time or whatnot, and giving them opportunities for jobs that are hiring ex-convicts or whatnot, and yeah.
Just trying to bridge the gap.
Pretty much.
For those people to help them get back on their feet.
Yep.
Very nice. One of the questions we had during the break was if I was convicted of a DUI or I had a DUI, can I still apply to be a police officer at TPD? And both of you working in the recruiting process, I'm guessing you probably get those questions while you're out there. Any help out for our viewers?
As long as you haven't had one within the past 10 years and a conviction is adjudicated guilty, you can get arrested. Just because you get arrested for a crime doesn't mean you're convicted of it. You go to jail, yes, you got to go through the whole process of going to court and everything. A lot of times DUIs get played down to reckless driving, which is not a DUI. So long as it doesn't say DUI adjudicated guilty, then you should be good to go within the past 10 years.
Okay, so there's still a chance I would not rule myself out, but we're going to take a look at that in our background history when we start going through the process with that.
Correct.
And Susan, you're helping out. You're helping out also in the office with that type of stuff. I think we might maybe need to talk a little bit about how in depth we go with our background checks. Can you explain that a little bit? Are we just doing a cursory check? Are we? What are we doing?
No, we
at TPD?
go pretty in depth. We check your driving. We check criminal history, your credit check. There's so many facets of which, how we look into your history, because we want to make sure we are getting, as the Major said earlier, the best of the best.
And why would my credit be something that you would need to know about as a police officer? I'm not going to be buying things when I'm out there, I'm assuming.
Well, not necessarily, but I mean, it goes to show your character, as far as, if you have a large amount of debt, maybe you're just using this job to try to get out of that debt, and, you're not necessarily doing the things that you need to be doing.
Right. All right, that's a very good example.
And as far as paying your bills on time, are you going to show up to work on time, or
are
you responsible enough to make sure to not overspend your money?
Absolutely.
Different things like that.
So you guys are doing a lot of our recruiting. You're out there with the masses. Can you explain how we do our recruiting? Physically going somewhere to recruit. Where are we going? Who are we talking to? How's that all work out?
Well, right now we're basically targeting like college age kids, like starting off at 21 years old and above, because that's the age you have to be upon hiring date. We're going to different universities, to career fairs, just anywhere where, like job fairs basically, and going to them, and we have a new brochure that we have created, giving a brochure, whoever comes over, shows interest in, we'll explain everything to them and whatnot and go from there. So as far, we've been down, I think Orlando, south is Orlando, west is Pensacola, and should be going to Atlanta sometime soon.
Very nice, and we're actually physically going there with our officers, meeting with the possible applicants, and hopefully bringing them here to Tallahassee, explaining why it's a great place to live. It's a great community. We have pretty good benefits, and we've got a pretty good package for the most part. Can we talk a little bit about some of those benefits? What are some of the things that an officer would expect when you start working at TPD? Do I get a take-home car? Do I get raises? How does that all work?
Well, some of the benefits that you get, I mean, you get a retirement program, 401k, 457, salary, whatever you start at. You know, if you did go to the academy, you'd start at like 36,000. If you start as an officer, depending on if you had experience of military, it would depend on what you would start with.
So we have a step, we have a transfer over if you were a former law enforcement officer.
I mean, you get a take-home car. All your equipment is provided for you. You do have college reimbursement, so if once you were hired and off probation, you could go to college and get reimbursed for going back to school. We also have incentive programs for having a 4-year degree in education and stuff like that.
And that's a monetary incentive, or actually paying us to have a 4-year degree or a 2-year degree?
Another incentive is a physical fitness program.
What's that?
Basically what you'd have to do is run 1.5 miles, and depending on what category you fell in as far as how fast you ran that 1.5 miles, depends on what kind of incentive you get in your paycheck.
And there's different levels of reward the same way monetarily as well. So you have a base salary, and then you can add on to that as well.
Right.
Outstanding. So you mentioned equipment, Officer Newhouse. Officer Johnson, can you explain what equipment is to our audience? I think everybody thinks that means you get a police radio, but what does equipment mean at TPD to our officers?
Everything you need to do your job. You get your gun, your duty belt, your taser, your ammunition, everything you need, your tie, your long sleeve Class A uniform, a nice little hat that you like Mike wearing.
You get a vest, boots, I mean, things that you need to protect you.
Yeah, everything that you would need to do the job is provided for you. You don't have to go out and buy, I don't have to go out and buy my bullets.
No.
I don't have to do that. I don't have to carry my own gun that I need to purchase on my own. There's a lot of departments that do that still, where you're allowed to carry the gun while you're working, but you have to purchase the gun. Where do we provide the guns?
Yes. It's one of the benefits also when you do retire is you actually get to keep that gun.
Keep the if you
retire after 25 years.
And that's what that brings me to the next question, which is how many years until retirement? That's a question a lot that our viewers have, is how long do I have to work at TPD before I'm eligible for retirement? And that at this point is
25 years.
25 years, and then you can continue to stay, or do you have to leave at 25?
You can go into the drop program for another 5 years if you decide to do that, but you can retire at 25 years at 81% of your salary.
Okay, so that's a pension that's in lieu of my 401 and my 457, right? So we have a pension plan that actually is going to pay us 81% at 25 years, free and clear. There's nothing else to do besides collect a check every month. 81% of your money's coming in.
Right, and then if you want to keep working and you want to work another 5 years, you get the 81% plus, which would be your drop money. So a lot of people say it's kind of like Christmas and Easter on the same day.
Right, exactly. So is there anything else that I'm missing on the recruiting process? What do I need to know to get myself in here at TPD?
I think some of the basic things is that if you want to apply, you need to make sure your driving is good. You can't have 3 tickets within the last 3 years. Make sure you haven't done anything illegal, and then get your education or your certification, and we can get you started on the process.
All right, we'd love to have you come out to work with us at TPD. We're sponsoring you through the academy. We're paying for all your equipment. We're giving you retirement. I don't know what else you could possibly need. Thank you both for coming in. I appreciate your time, and we'll see you back here again. I'd love to have you both back again, so thank you so much. That brings us to the end of our show. Get out there, go to the website, apply to come on to be a TPD officer. We'd love to have you on the team, and we'll see you next time at City Law, City Justice.